VAT on independent schools was discussed in the House of Commons, and I am here with the two people who started the petition, and I have to declare my interest as well. I'm one of the parents and I support the fact that there should not be VAT on independent schools or education per se, because we will be the only country who would have this in the whole of Europe. So first with Hugh, who started the petition which got us to this debate point. So congratulations, Hugh.
Thank you. Really good to know.
Tell a little bit about you so that people know a bit about you.
Yeah, well, I'm one of the private school parents who's affected by the VAT implementation on independent schools. My little girl goes to an all-girls school in Newcastle, and I started the petition out of sheer anger at the fact that they decided to implement this draconian policy. And so here we are today, along with a lot of other people who I've met through the network and through the cause, to see this great debate take place.
Yes. How does it impact you? In what ways?
I think it impacts me in two ways. The first thing is obviously the financial implication of having to pay the additional uplift in the fees. But secondly, it's seeing private school children taken away from established friends groups, established networks where they're educated and they know where their strengths and weaknesses are. And just the whole veering away from having that understanding of the mental health aspect of it and the social aspect of children getting caught up in party politics more than anything else.
Okay, and what did you hear in the debate today? What were your plus and what were your minuses?
I think the overall positive outcome from this today is we saw some significant party people coming to that debate from across the board. The overall majority, and including on the opposition, supported our views on the fact that this was a bad policy that should be repealed. And that was the overall outcome of that debate. And we got the same usual response from Labour, which we're just providing this 1.8 billion number and saying that it's going to benefit the state sector. But there was no real context there, and the fight will continue. This isn't the end of it.
What next do you see?
I don't think any of us have given up on this. I think so. There's a couple of things. So the first main thing is that the High Court case is about to take place. It's been expedited. There's some clear legal framework that's giving them a reason to expedite this case, and I think what that will do is give hope to parents that actually there is some reason legally why this case should be expedited further and that they should repeal this policy as being unlawful.
The next stop over is the High Court case. Can I please speak to Tony Perry, who started the Change.org petition on behalf of Education Not Taxation. It is a group that he founded and I joined hands with him as well. And he has been consistently a part of this campaign. The group ENT is over 250,000 parents who are standing together to oppose this tax. Now, Tony, what did you hear inside?
Well, I think on the whole, I heard MPs from across the major parties all identifying significant flaws with this education tax. So what that told me is that the arguments that parents have made and others have been heard. And in fact, MPs referenced the numbers of parents who had contacted them with their concerns about this bill, this policy, including an MP from the Labour
yes,
Party.
Yes, and I think Rupa Huq was the MP, and she spoke quite eloquently.
Yeah.
And having gone through the education part, I think that's, and we heard the debate on the Lords together,
yes,
in which many crossover lords from and baronesses from Labour Party came forth and said this. Why still till now neither Rachel Reeves nor Bridget Wilson have come forth and attended or addressed? I mean, how do you read that?
And the fact that neither Rachel Reeves nor Bridget Phillipson could find time to come only shows the weakness of their argument. In fact, the creator of the report has now come out in the news saying it actually wasn't very insightful of analysis that is underpinning all of this, right?
Yes.
So you start adding that up, you start seeing the lived experience of thousands of parents across the country who have already taken their children out of their schools, or are up at night wondering how much longer they can keep their children in the schools, or what happens if they lose their job. All of these sorts of things, it becomes much more acute. So we continue. Next step is going to be the High Court, see what happens there, its decision. I believe that it's going to go the way for parents to show the weaknesses of this policy, and then it gives them much more to think about. It makes the foundation on which this policy stands even weaker still.
Yes,
So,
brilliant. 3 points on people who are not for this policy. What argument can you make? 1, 2, 3. The quick ones.
Okay, so the first thing is, more than anything else, is we've already relieved the government, the taxpayer, and the education department of the burden and the cost of educating our children. So to come after us again, tax is quite it's ridiculous, to be honest with you. We're already saving a significant amount of money, and you times that by the number of children that are in private school or independent school, however you want to refer to them, that is a significant saving already.
Okay, but it's going to generate whatever X amount of money in the situation that we are. So much happening, we can't find that money elsewhere. Why do you oppose that?
well, I'm going to come back to your premise though. This amount of money that they keep saying, 1.8 billion pounds a year, that's questionable, but even running with it, when you look at the amount of money that the government brings in tax revenues, this is 0.18% of the money. It's a rounding error, and not even that. So this government has got parents and schools fighting each other over something less than a rounding error. So I think that's the point that I want to come back to. And I would come and ask, are you confident that every single pence that this government takes in is spent ever so efficiently that we can find nowhere else, no fat to trim at all, that can actually divert more money into schools? That's the other part I would say. Second part, if you are for the VAT, I would say that in particular, I would argue as a parent of a child with special education needs, is that this actually makes the burden even higher on those children, because their parents are paying not only school fees but also the additional education that they need, which means that it's harder still for them to make ends meet, which means that you now have more children with SEND coming into state schools that are themselves struggling to support children with SEND. So that means that SEND resources are strained ever more, on top of just the increased competition that we're going to start seeing, maybe not into this year, but certainly in the next year, for parents choosing for secondary schools, right, or primary schools. So you're going to, every parent, and again, I have a child in an independent school and in a state school, so I know both sides of this. And I also know full well what it's like when you put in your preferences for your next school in the autumn, and then you wait until the spring to find out, did my child get a place? Do I live close enough to my school or not?
Yeah.
All of those questions. Well, guess what? That's about to get even more intense.
Thank you so much, both of you, and for what you have done. But a very quick one from inside as well. There were many solutions to how this money that could be put in the state sector is that could be achieved through various other formats. For example, taxing the social media companies, one of the suggestions given inside by the MP. So many other places where it could be achieved rather than from the parents who are already struggling. And these are not very rich parents. And in this whole process, what has happened is that education is made to be more elite. So people who can afford it would not be affected and are okay with it. But people who, for various reasons, have their children there, like Tony has one child in state school and the other one in a private school for SEN reasons, they will be affected, and education should be equal for all, and we should all work towards it. But taxing the parents of people who don't have it and putting children and forcing them out of the school is not the way to do it. Now, this is where the whole crux of the argument of parents standing against VAT stands. And the next, of course, is the court case that is going to be on, as we understand, from the 1st to the 4th of April. So it is the court case that has been expedited because not only VAT on private schools, but also the business rates are going up from April, and to compound it all is the hike in national insurance. So all eyes now on the court case. Lavina Tandon reporting as a parent from outside Westminster. Thank you very much for watching, and please do leave your comments even if you don't agree. Thank you.